You know, some ancient texts feel like historical documents, locked away in the past. But every now and then, you come across one that feels alive. A guide, written thousands of years ago, that seems to speak directly to the challenges we face in our own lives, right now. That's the Bhagavad Gita. It's less of a history book and more of a manual for the human condition.
The whole story kicks off with a moment of absolute crisis. A great warrior, Arjuna, is standing on the edge of a massive battle and he just freezes. He's full of doubt. But here's the thing. His conflict isn't just his own. His doubts, his fears, his confusion, they're a mirror for the internal battles that we all fight when we're faced with an impossible choice.
And this is really the key that unlocks the whole text. The physical battlefield is just a powerful metaphor. The real war, the one that truly matters, is the one that rages inside each of us, every single day.
So here's how we're going to walk through this incredible philosophy. We'll start with that battlefield within. Then we'll meet the guide who shows up in a crisis. From there, we'll explore our unchanging self, learn the art of action, understand the three energies of life, and finally work toward the practice of equanimity.
Okay, so let's dive right into that central idea, the battlefield within. The Gita doesn't see this as a fight between armies with swords and shields. No, it's about that constant tension we all feel, between our higher self and our lower impulses, between our sense of purpose and our deepest fears.
Once you see it this way, the whole story just clicks into place. It stops being about an ancient war and becomes about the deeply personal struggle we all go through. It's about that critical moment of choice between what is right and what is easy, between our purpose and our fear. That is our battlefield.
So what happens when you're on that battlefield, feeling completely lost? Well, the Gita presents this timeless, beautiful dynamic. The moment a seeker in crisis finally reaches out to a wise guide.
So on one side, you've got Arjuna. He's supposed to be this incredible warrior, but he's having a complete existential breakdown. He's totally overwhelmed. And on the other side, you have Krishna, who's acting as his charioteer. Krishna represents that calm, universal wisdom that can steer us right through the middle of chaos. Their dialogue, all 700 verses of it, is the heart of the entire text. And this right here, this is where everything really begins. Think about it. This powerful, legendary warrior basically says, I'm lost. I don't have the answers. He sets his ego aside and just asks for help. It's in that moment of profound vulnerability that the real teaching can finally start.
So what's the very first lesson Krishna offers? Well, it's a pretty radical shift in perspective. He basically says, hold on, before we can even talk about what you need to do, we first have to figure out who you truly are.
Krishna introduces this core concept of the Atma, which we can translate as the soul, or the true self. Now, this isn't your personality, it's not your job title, it's not your body. The Atma is the silent, conscious observer behind your eyes. That part of you that's been there since day one, the part that's eternal and never really changes.
And the analogy the Gita uses for this is just beautiful. It says, the body is like a set of clothes that the soul wears. We change our clothes all the time, right? But the person wearing them stays the same. In the same way, our bodies change, they age, they eventually pass on, but the Atma, our true self, is untouched. So the real question becomes, why are we so afraid of what is essentially just a change of clothes?
Okay, so once you start to really grasp that idea, that your true self is eternal, it's secure, it completely changes how you approach taking action in the world. And this leads us to one of the most practical and famous concepts from the Gita, Karma Yoga, or the art of right action.
I mean, this question just hits home for so many of us today, doesn't it? We pour everything we have into our work, our projects, our relationships, but that constant pressure to succeed, that fear of failure, it can be absolutely paralyzing.
And here, in maybe its most famous verse, the Gita gives us a revolutionary answer. It teaches that you have a right to your work, to the effort, to the focus, to the dedication. But you are not entitled to the results. The fruits of your action, well, those are never entirely up to you.
And that is the secret of Karma Yoga. By letting go of your attachment to the outcome, you free yourself from all that anxiety. You can finally pour 100% of your energy into the present moment, into the task itself. You know, it's what modern psychology calls being in a flow state. The Gita was talking about this very idea thousands of years ago. Now, to help us better understand why we act the way we do, the Gita offers another really practical framework. It suggests that everything in nature is composed of three fundamental energies or modes, which are called the gunas.
So it breaks down like this. First, you have sattva,
Think of this as the energy of balance, clarity, and flow. Then there's Rajas. This is your passion and ambition, the drive that pushes you forward but can also tip over into stress. And finally, there's Tamas. This is the energy of inertia, what we might call lethargy, procrastination, or even burnout. The Gita says these three energies are always mixing and shifting within us, influencing our every thought and action.
All right, so we understand our true self. We have a new art of action, and we see the energies that influence us. Where does all of this lead? What's the ultimate goal? Well, all these teachings point toward a single, powerful state of being.
The goal is equanimity. Now, this isn't about being cold or emotionless, not at all. It's about building a deep inner stability, a mental resilience that allows you to navigate the highs and lows of life without being constantly thrown off balance. It's that quiet strength that keeps you centered no matter what the world throws at you.
And here, Krishna gives the final practical instruction. He doesn't say don't feel happiness or don't feel sadness. He says to treat them with equipoise, with an even mind. When we can face both victory and defeat with that same steady composure, we become free to act rightly, to do what needs to be done, unburdened by the storm of our own reactions.
And this really brings us to the most important takeaway of all. The Gita's wisdom isn't meant to just sit on a page as some abstract theory. It's a call to practice. It's an applied philosophy, a set of tools meant to be used every single day on the battlefield of our own lives.
So we'll end by turning the question back to you. The Gita doesn't give one-size-fits-all answers. It gives you a framework for finding your own. It asks you to look at the conflicts in your own life, in your own mind, and ask yourself, what is the right action for me, right now? What duty, what purpose, unique to me, is calling for my attention?